Okay, we're beginning. So the kids walk in to the class, your first class. Everybody has their rackets. There are 10 kids. They're all excited about playing tennis. Kids, put your rackets down. That's the very first thing you tell them. All right, now they got to start working with the ball, developing their hand-eye coordination. That's the very, very first thing that they're going to do. All right, so you have all these different progressions. So everybody gets a ball. Get these nice balls. You know, these are stage 3. All right, low compression. Okay, very first thing that they're going to do is, let's see if they could even throw a ball up and catch it. So they got to do 10 of these. 1, 2, 3. They got to get to 10 of those. They're all working on them at once. When they can do 10, and the next thing is they bounce the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now they've gotten to 10 of those. Okay, then you can say, okay, if they're, some of them are still doing this, by the way. And then the ones who have done 10 of those, then you say, okay, now do it, bounce it and catch it with the other hand. And keep throwing it back and forth from one hand to the other. All right? And then you could say, okay, throw the ball higher than you were before. Throw it over your head and catch it. Okay, so this is just another progression, and you just keep going now. And meanwhile, you still have a couple of kids who are just doing this. All right? But most of the kids have progressed, hopefully, and they're doing, okay, then you could even have them throw it up and clap. 1, 2, and they do 10 of these until they get, okay, clapping once. Now clap twice. Okay. It's just another progression. Each time, the more they're working on this, the better they're getting. Their hand-eye coordination is improving. Some of these kids have never really played catch at home. You know, that's just the way it is. So that's the way we have to begin. All right, we're not even doing any rackets yet. All right, so the next thing now, if you have a wall, and of course you do because you're in a gymnasium, they throw the ball against the wall, they do underhand, catch it with 2 hands, and they got to get to 10. And then they say, oh, I did it, and you say, prove it. And they got to show you. Meanwhile, some of the kids might still be doing this, while other kids are throwing the ball against the wall. It all depends on where they are in the progression, all right? Then they throw it from one hand to the other, and then you could tell them to back up. So there's almost no end to the progressions that you can do. But this comes before, it comes before the racket. Before they get to the racket, they have to be able to do this. It's like walking before running. It's like anything like that, all right? You're not going to put a kid on skis until he can walk, right? I mean, and you're not going to, it's just the way it is, all right? First they got to crawl, then they got to pull themselves up, then they start maybe walking a little bit by holding on to something, and then they start walking. And it's the same thing with this. All right, so, and then the next thing might be they get a friend, you pair them off, and they're bouncing the ball to each other, just like this. They're bouncing the ball back and forth to each other. And then you back them up more. And meanwhile, you haven't even touched the racket yet. And that's the way it has to be. All right? And all of your classes should be going like this. You know, like the first half of the class, they should be working on their hand-eye coordination. Now, as they improve, after a week or 2 weeks, they might be able to go to the racket a little sooner. So now you've done all these progressions for like 10 minutes or so in your first class, and now you put the ball on the racket and you say, okay, kids, follow me. And you start walking around the gym. And they just follow you. And it's very, very fun. The kids are liking it. And believe it or not, some of them are going to have a hard time with this. Tell them that this is illegal. All right, putting the ball right in there in the, in the thing there where it's illegal. They got to keep it on the racket, and they got to keep walking. All right, then the next thing would be ups with a bounce. Ups with a bounce. You see, of course. You get under it, hit it up. And this is going to be very difficult. You think it's so easy. It's very difficult. So forget about our net and forget about playing tennis. They're not, this comes first. You can't expect them to play tennis until they could first do 10 of these, a minimum of 10 of these. Just ups with a bounce. They're the easiest. Then the next thing is this. It's just straight, I call it dribbling or downs, all right? Just bouncing the ball like this. This is so difficult for most of the kids. So some of the kids are going to run over to you. You're going to tell them, okay, do ups with a bounce. Then they do Then some of them are going to, I did it, I did it. And then you say, prove it. And then when they prove it to you, you're watching them while all the other kids are working on their own stuff. You say, okay, next, just bounce the ball now. Do 10 of these. Then they do 10 of those. You say, okay, do straight ups. Just like this, straight ups. All right? And then they do straight ups. Then you can do 10 flip-flops. All right? So you have all these different progressions. And some kids are working on one, some kids are working on the other. I don't know if I said anything about throwing the ball up with claps. Maybe I'm not sure if I did, but that's another one. When you're just throwing the ball up, I'm going backwards now. But clap once and do 10 of those with one clap. Okay, and then 2 claps. 2 claps. And they got to get to 10. And then 3 claps. And they got to get to 10 and 4 and 5. And you can have them all doing that together as a group. It's very fun. You can eliminate. All right, so kids who can't do it, they can't do, after 3 they mess up, tell them to sit down. And then the ones who can continue, so everybody's watching, it's very fun. And it's only lasts another few seconds. It's not like they're sitting for minutes and minutes upon end. All right, so now they've done their ups, they've done ups with a bounce, just like this. They've done 10 of those. The bouncing, meanwhile, even if they can't do it, you got to move on. You do have to move on. You can't just tailor the class for the kids at the bottom. All right, so if they can't, you got to give everybody a chance, but the class has to keep moving. If you start working with one kid too much, you're going to lose the rest of the kids. So you got to remember, you're like a gym teacher here. You've got to keep this class moving. It's a group lesson. You're not so concerned about the way they're hitting the ball, like their stroke or anything. You're just concerned with their hand-eye coordination, keeping it moving, and we want to get them playing tennis. That's the, right, quick start, right? So quick start tennis. All right, so the next thing now, they've completed, they've done all this. Now you have them, and they've paired off, they've hit again. Now they're going to hit against the wall. And they're going to get to 10. All right? And then you're going to back them up. And then after they've done, they do 10 backed up. And now meanwhile, let me just show you something. You go like this. You have them standing like this. And they're just doing it. They're not even doing it sideways. They're doing it just with the ball right in front of them. Now listen, the key words here are tap the ball. All right? If you tell them to hit the ball, you're going to end up with a big swing, and the ball's going to go past them very quickly. And they're going to be running all after it. It's going to defeat the purpose. Tap the ball. Remember that word. It's a key word. Bump. Bump the ball, tap the ball. All right? Tap it. Just tap it. Hit it easy. Hit it easy. All right? And with hardly any follow-through at all. Just like this. Okay. Then the next thing, then once they've done that, how about 10 backhands? And have them put 2 hands on it, and have them do it like this. 10 backhands. Okay? And then they come over to you, I did it, I could do it. Okay? Do forehand to backhand. Forehand, backhand. Have them keep alternating. Meanwhile, remember, there are certain kids who aren't even hitting against the wall yet. They're still working on this, or even ups with a bounce. But it's more likely they're working on just the bouncing, just the dribbling. The more familiar you are with all of these, all of these progressions, the better teacher you're going to be. You need to be patient with them, and it's hard work. Remember, give them some water breaks, and they have to keep doing it. They have to. The more they do it, remember, how many balls are they going to hit? Just think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just hit 10 balls in about 5 seconds. So think about how many balls I'm going to hit. If I keep doing this for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm going to hit hundreds of balls. If you would line them up, let's say, putting a net up, and then you line them up, you throw them a ball, and then they swing at it, and then maybe they make it or they don't make it, and then they go to the end of the line and they wait. They're going to hit a ball every 2 minutes. It's just, there's no comparison, okay? There's no comparison. So, anyway, that's your progressions, I don't know. Wondering if I could think of anything. There's another thing that the kids like to do. I don't know if you could see it with you have to put the ball down and then they try to pick it up. on the side of their foot like that. That's very fun too. They can enjoy that. That's also hand-eye coordination. You put it on the outside of the foot, you lift up, and then you bounce it down and you catch it. And it's just another thing. It's another thing to do. And then, you know, if you're a very good instructor, you're going to be able to think of things to add to this. New kinds of progressions. You know, because every time I do it, I think of something new. You know, how about this? How about 1? Ooh, you know, then get to 10. 1, 2. All right. And then how about with the other hand? Very difficult to do it with your opposite hand. I mean, there's just a lot of different things to do. How about, you know, throw the ball up, catch it with the other? How about just throw it with your left hand and catch it with your left hand? And it's got to go over your head. How about throw it, catch it, throw it, clap, catch it with one hand? Instead of a two-hand catch, it's a one-hand catch. Okay? I mean, these are just, the more they do, the better they're going to get. And then when it's time to put the net up, which it will be, they're going to want the net so badly, you know, and you're going to want to give it to them. So, but give them the first 30 minutes. Give it to them. They deserve it. And then give them homework. Tell them, get a tennis. You know, these balls we need. We need these balls. Don't start giving out these balls. All right? They can go get them themselves, or they can use a regular tennis ball. All right? So you tell them to go, when you go home, go ask your mom, where can I throw a ball against the wall? Everybody can get a tennis ball. There's tennis balls all over the place. All right, when they go home. So ask the mom, can I throw the ball against the garage wall? Can I throw it in the basement? And then let them throw the ball. You know, let them just throw the ball against the wall and catch it. Let them take their racket and hit it against the garage door and practice. You know, let them have a catch with their mom and dad. All right, these are some of the things that they can do. You know, and these are the progressions that I talk about and that are so important. Stick with them. You're going to end up with kids who, at the end of the 8-week session, you're going to see some improvement. You're going to see substantial improvement. Parents are going to be happy with you. The kids are going to be happy. They're going to feel really good about themselves. And it's, you know, the whole thing is going to end up being a success. That's it, you know. Okay. Good luck.